Hello friends, welcome to game number 3 of the MLG Anaheim opening bracket round number 3. Now this is a best of 3 series and coLCatZ have won both of the previous 2 games. So after I casted game number 2, I immediately went to MLG website, and according to their website, coLCatZ has won this series 2-1. So I'm really not sure as to why they are playing a third game. Yeah, if you could let me know that will be great. I mean, unless if they made an error of naming the files, because this file is named the game number 3, so I'm not sure what's going on there. If you could let me know, that would be great. We see that blue player ToD did just click coLCatz's base, so he is already setting that drone probe over rather. And ToD interestingly throwing down a pylon on the low ground again, meaning that he will be going for a fast forge expansion. Now ToD has done this in both of the previous 2 games, I believe, so definitely a huge fan of this build. Meanwhile, in coLCatz's base, we see that he is on 14 drones and not going to be doing anything with that except sending out a probe drone rather to chase away that scouting probe. Now this map is Xel'Naga Caverns. You gotta remember that your natural is much wider. There are much more avenues for attack, especially with speed links. It's not like Shakura's Plateau or Tal'Darim Outer, where you know your natural is somewhat protected by a narrow ramp and choke. But with Xel'Naga Caverns, it's completely wide in the wide open. And we see that coLCatzZ did go for gas, a relatively early gas. So could very well be seeing speed links, or see how ToD decided to defend against this. His forge is done, and he is just going to be throwing down the nexus. Meanwhile, in camp coLCatzZ, we see that his pool is already done, but has really made no attempt to expand. I mean, he was at 200 minerals there, not even sending out a drone to the natural expansion position. And ToD just going to be moving that probe there to anticipate any sort of block, and he is going to anticipate correctly because this drone is moving out with enough minerals in the bank momentarily, but it does not have Zergling escort. If you are going to expand against a experienced player, they could very well throw down a block, which is exactly what's happening here, and 4 Zergling is just going to be popping out to help assist with the destruction of that blocking pylon. And interestingly, we saw that coLCatzZ is going for a very fast layer. This layer was almost timed at 4 minutes, and he is only on 1 gas. I mean, in the earlier days when I was a noob, I used this 1 base muta all the time, where I get 2 gas as soon as possible, and I guess it was somewhat popular back then. So the idea is to get 2 gas and tech 2 muta as fast as possible, but we know that coLCatzZ is not in silver or gold. He is in Grandmasters rather. So, and he is moving his overlords forward towards the Protoss base. So this could only mean one thing: he is going for that fast layer just because he wants those overlords to poop creep, and we'll see where these drones go. They're not going to transfer to the natural, so almost always means that as soon as his overlord starts pooping creep, these drones are going to be throwing down spine crawlers and poking away at this base. I mean, you can't really do any damage with Zerglings, or else it will get annihilated by those cannons. Very nice red cannons right there. Can't really do any damage to the natural as well. You really shouldn't try to do some sort of running, or else you're gonna take heavy Zergling losses. So yeah, gonna use those Zerglings just to prevent those spine crawlers from dying. I mean, as soon as Protoss players see that you have some spine crawler outside of their base, they're gonna throw all sorts of gateway units at you. The Zerglings will just be there to serve as a buffer, make sure that your spine crawlers don't take too much damage from gateway units. And overlords are almost in position. We see that in the natural of coLCatzZ, he has nothing mining whatsoever, using all his larvae on attacking units, Zerglings at this point, and infestation pit completed, but I mean he only has 2 gas, so not gonna go too heavy on infestors. And we see that 1 infestor is being produced right now, and not even bothering to get that pathogen gland. I mean, if you go for this kind of build, your economy is obviously gonna be in the dumps, and we see that his opponent is way ahead in harvesters. So coLCatZ really needs to make something happen with this build, or else he is going to be so behind, losing a lot of Zerglings there, but forcing a cancel on that cannon, just because you don't want your opponents to have cannons, especially in front of their building. Otherwise, your spine crawlers are not going to have enough time to root themselves before they could attack. And we see that ToD doesn't really have too many gate. His yes, I believe his warp gate is. The research is finished, which is good for him because his cybernetics core is about to go down, and he has 6 gates, and just gonna be starting to warp in some gateway units. He only has about 5 zealots right now. Should really wait for another round of warping before he decides to push out. And we see that cybernetics core has just fallen, and the Nexus is almost depleted of shield. But his next round is gonna come right now, and lots of zealots. This will be pretty bad news for coLCatZ. I mean, fungal growth don't do that much damage to zealots, and they did just get a good surround on that first spine crawler, and it has already fallen. Second spine crawler pretty low on HP, almost dying in the red, 57, 58. But another round of zealots being warped in. This is not enough Zerglings to deal with this much pressure, but coLCatZ is just going to be start producing attacking units. We see that he was producing 12 Zerglings, but has just produced 1 drone. Most likely he is going to realize that this is a lost cause, because I mean he only has 3 infestors at the front, and they don't even have enough energy for anything. And this last spine crawler most inevitably is going to fall, and there it falls. So coLCatZ is going to be, he should really be pulling back his infestor. Don't want to lose any of those, especially since his economy is so low, and looks like he is going to lose these overlord, and he is going to be transitioning into economic mode. We see that he only has 1 queen. Yes, only 1 queen, and she is going to be just walking back and forth for injects. So yeah, coLCatz's economy is really bad. His opponent is still in a commanding harvester lead, so that plan definitely didn't work out as well as he had hoped, and he is going to be utilizing all resource and larva for drone production from this point. It looks like that the remaining creep just being evaporated right now. Protoss doesn't really have a big ball here. Should probably wait for his robo to finish before he moves out. And if we look at the harvester count, yeah, ToD is still about 12 harvester ahead of his opponent coLCatzZ, and coLCatzZ is just going to be grabbing 2 gas, and we're already in this 11 minute, which could be considered as late game. So coLCatzZ really in a, well, he is not in a world of hurt right now, but if he doesn't catch up or make something happen, this could go very badly for him. Still on 1 queen. Not deciding, okay, I guess coLCatzZ is one of those players who likes to use Overlord for creep spread, which is why we don't see him getting a 3rd queen that often for creep spreading, which is like it saves some energy, because you're not using your queen's energy for creep tumor, which could be used as inject larva. But as soon as you go beyond your natural, you really need creep tumor just to give you the advanced warning of when that Protoss ball moves out. Still not getting a 2nd queen. And looks like there is a pylon here, and coLCatzZ has spotted this with this floating overlord, and he's going to be moving his lane, completely ignoring that zealot over there. Very smart choice, just going to be focusing his fire on bringing down this pylon. You really don't even need to pick up those zealots unless if it's a free kill. And this Protoss ball is reaching that critical mass. I mean, it's not very big, but you gotta remember our player coLCatZ this whole time has been sitting on a very bad economic disadvantage. He has not a lot going on back in his home base, and he's only on 2 mining bases, and this natural is not even that well saturated. Pretty good saturation in the main, but horrible saturation in the natural. And his opponent is very well saturated on 2 bases, as well as getting a 3rd. Yeah, ToD is going to skyrocket ahead with his economy, and now just getting that 2nd queen on the natural. coLCatZ is going to be transitioning into roaches and finally getting that neuroparasite. Did he see this Colossus from his opponent? No, he didn't. I guess that was just a smart instinctive read. I mean, when you're almost 15 minutes into the game, you almost always have to assume that your opponent has either Immortal or a Colossus, you know, those big scary units. So even if you don't send in any sort of sacrificial overlord, or even if you have just no scouting information on your opponent's base, when you're this late into the game, you gotta have that neuroparasite just in case to deal with those big scary units. And we see that coLCatZ is going to be moving in with some infestor, probably going to try for infested Terran bomb, but ToD is very well prepared, even getting a cannon on the high ground, just impenetrable defense, no chance at all for coLCatZ to take any sort of opportunity strike, and he is going to be moving those infestor back with his main army grouped up. coLCatZ just now going to be taking his gold expansion, but Protoss player already knows about this with the observer. And if we look at the unit counting station, the Protoss player has 14 stalkers against coLCatz's 12 roaches, and the infestor count is looking pretty healthy for coLCatZ. So as long as he can land some miracle fungal growth as well as Minecraft